Tonight at 5, Governor Tony Evers will deliver his final State of the State address in just a few hours. Our crew live at the Capitol with a look ahead to his speech.
And I'm tracking showers and even a couple of thunderstorms for tonight, and that's not the only chance of thunderstorms in this forecast. We also have snow in the forecast, too. More on that in a bit.
Plus, remembering Reverend Jesse Jackson, how Wisconsin officials are reacting to the death of the 84-year-old civil rights leader. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. And good evening. Thanks for staying with us. Susan is off this week. Today is the spring primary, and tonight's results will determine who will be on your ballot for the general election. And News 3 Now has you covered with everything you need to know before and after you head to the polls. Find information about candidates and a link to learn who's on your ballot. This story is at channel3000.com. That's also where we will be tracking the results of these races as they come in. Well, as those results are being counted, we could see a few thunderstorms out there. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington in studio with what we can expect. Alex?
Eric, let's just use Future Track, get right to it here. A couple showers. This may be a bit more widespread than what is likely during the early to mid-evening hours as we have dry air in place, and that evaporates some of the water that's going to try to make it to the ground. But it's a little bit later in the evening that we've been eyeing up, not just for the past couple days, but really for about 10 days, rather. As we head towards midnight, notice there's a couple yellows, a couple oranges on the map there, especially from Madison, areas up towards the north, Viroqua, the Dells, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties. We fast forward to 2, 3 in the morning, you see a couple other waves of those yellows and those oranges. Those are those few little bands of a couple rumbles of thunder. Can't rule out some small hail and some gusty winds and some lightning with some of these thunderstorms, but we are not expecting widespread severe weather. We're really not expecting severe weather at all. Then we turn sunny throughout much of the day from Madison areas to the south, cloudy to the north, and then in between we're going to have a period of dry weather. That dry weather right now, not in the picture here. If we go off towards the south and towards the west, that's those few showers on radar 3000 trying to make it into Grant County, but some of that is struggling to make it to the ground. Eventually it will, with lows in the 40s to near 50 tonight. So a very warm night tonight for southern Wisconsin. Normal highs for this time of year are right around 30, and our normal lows are around 15, and we're seeing lows tonight well into the 40s, near 60. One more time from Madison areas to the south as we go into Wednesday with breezy conditions. And first to let you know, we're keeping an eye on the potential for alert day conditions as we head into Thursday. More on the changeover from thunderstorms to wet snow that could warrant the alert day heading in a little bit.
Alex, thank you. Ahead of the State of the State address tonight, nearly a dozen Wisconsin school districts are calling for a bipartisan compromise on school funding and property tax relief. In a joint statement, the Green Bay, Kenosha, Madison, Milwaukee, and Racine school districts criticized lawmakers for failing to increase general state aid despite a massive budget surplus. All 6 of the school districts in Sauk County released a statement today in support of that demand. This as a lack of funding has led districts to go to referendum, ultimately raising property taxes. And the governor and the Republican-led assembly had come to an agreement on funding in recent weeks, but Senate leadership was not on board. After the initial disagreement, the Republicans in the Senate and the Assembly are now on the same page.
So after discussing with our colleagues in the state Senate about trying to put forward a package for relief for our citizens in Wisconsin, we actually accepted the governor's challenge where he said make sure that we have money for schools and we wanted to make sure that there is money for the residents of Wisconsin.
With the assembly set to adjourn Friday, legislators don't have a lot of time to get that compromise done or any other legislation. And Democrats criticized that deadline at their own press conference today.
There are still many session days left for us this spring to do the right thing. And Republicans are willfully passing up the opportunity to work with us and help folks save on those everyday costs.
GOP leadership said they sent the governor a letter Sunday night on the matter and have yet to hear back. The governor would not need the support of legislative Democrats to sign off on the tax relief plan since Republicans have the majority in both houses. And now all of this as the governor is set to give his final State of the State address tonight. News 3 Now's political reporter Ellie LaLiberte live at the Capitol now joins us with a preview. Ellie?
Eric, those negotiations for a property tax relief plan are truly the backdrop of tonight's address. We're expecting the governor to urge lawmakers to stay in Madison throughout the year instead of hitting the campaign trail. Now, according to excerpts of his speech we got earlier today, he says lose focus on the future we've been working hard to build together just because it's an election year. Now, in that letter that Republican leadership sent to the governor yesterday, they proposed using the state's $2.5 billion surplus to buy down the school levy tax credit to help with property taxes. The proposal would also give Wisconsinites rebate checks and put money towards special education reimbursement. Now, notably absent is the governor's request to put $450 million towards general school aid. It remains unclear now if the governor will approve this plan, but the preview of his remarks shows us he wants the legislature to stay in session and discuss. Now, tonight's State of the State address will also be used by the governor to tout his achievements of the past 2 terms. We're expecting him to touch on things like childcare, education, agriculture, the workforce, as well as the Republican-introduced tax credits that he signed into law. Now, tonight's address will be at 7 p.m. You can watch that streaming on channel3000.com. We are expecting to hear from Republican lawmakers following the governor's remarks. Now, I'll be here live tonight at 10 to break down Governor Evers' final State of the State address. Eric?
All right, Ellie, we look forward to your coverage. Thank you. The country is remembering the Reverend Jesse Jackson tonight. The civil rights leader died today at the age of 84 at his home in Chicago, surrounded by family. Jackson met with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis shortly before he was killed. He went on to lead a lifetime of crusades in the U.S. and abroad, advocating for poor and underrepresented people on issues like voting rights, education, and health care. Jackson also ran 2 presidential campaigns, and you may recall he spent some time in Madison over the years.
All of you should come across that stage with the plume in one hand and the voter card in the other.
That's Jesse Jackson speaking to Madison East High School students back in February 2011. Notably, he spoke before protesters outside the state capitol against Act 10, the Scott Walker-era law that effectively ended collective bargaining for most of Wisconsin's public employees. And reaction pouring in from leaders across the country, including many here in Wisconsin. In a post to his Facebook account, CEO and president of the Dane County Boys and Girls Club, Michael Johnson, paid tribute to Jackson. He wrote in part, quote, Reverend Jackson's impact reaches far beyond marches and speeches. He helped shape a vision of America that demands fairness and dignity for all. Other notable tributes from Wisconsin leaders came from Governor Evers and Republican Congressman Derek Van Orden. We have an update to a story we brought you last night. Police say the bus driver involved in a crash in Oregon with an SUV has been cited for being on their phone. This was Monday afternoon at the intersection of East Netherwood Road and North Perry Parkway. Police say the SUV driver blew through the North Perry stop sign and hit a bus carrying 3 students. The SUV driver and their passenger were hurt. Police have not confirmed the extent of those injuries. In their initial statement, we should point out, police told us the SUV driver would be cited for failing to stop. Well, no one was hurt after a gas leak at an assisted living facility in DeForest. DeForest Windsor Fire and EMS say the leak happened on Parkside Circle. This was just after 8 o'clock last night. Residents were able to return at about 10:30 last night. One person was taken to the hospital for other health complications unrelated to the leak. Madison police responded to a person throwing things off a balcony in downtown Madison Sunday night, injuring multiple officers. But the officers weren't injured by what was thrown. News 3 Now's Jalen Banks joins us now with an update on the officers' recovery. Jalen?
Eric, Madison police tell me the officers injured are all now back home. However, the department takes extra caution before sending officers back on the streets. Sunday, Madison police responded to West Johnson Street just before 6 p.m. for a call of items being thrown by a suspect off a balcony, which hit a Metro bus and people walking by. I had a chance to talk to the owner of a local tea shop not far from the incident. They tell me this happened during business hours.
A couple of customers took some photos of what was happening. Yeah, these incidents don't happen very often.
The officers involved in the incident were hurt trying to take the person into custody.
It was a rather quick encounter between the officers and the suspect there. And it was just immediately kind of into a fight. And we had multiple officers and agencies that responded to assist us on this call. It took a lot of people in order to get the suspect under control.
The officers' injuries range from concussions to lower and upper body soft tissue injuries.
We give them time off, and then at the end of that, we will reassess, talk to the officer, any medical advice that they have. Once they are ready to return back to duty, they might ride with another officer to, again, just make sure that they are mentally prepared to go back. Some will not require that, but again, we just try to cater to what those officers' needs are.
And Captain Hartman says the timeline for returning to duty varies from officer to officer. Eric.
All right, Jalen, thank you. And still ahead at 5, the Packers. Already looking ahead to next season. News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde takes us inside the front office as the green and gold get ready for next week's NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. And for more than a week, our First Warn weather team has been tracking potential storms in the coming days. We check back in with Alex what we could see Thursday and Friday. All minor jumps in Tuesday trading on Wall Street. The Dow and NASDAQ both add about 32 points. The S&P 500 marginally higher, up 7 at the closing bell. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5, moving forward.
Just a few hours left to get out to the polls and vote in the spring primary. This election will determine who ends up on your ballot in the general election. Our Sarah Carlson is here now with a look at some of the key races. Sarah?
Hi, Eric. The races on your ballot may vary depending on where you live. So some people might not see these on their ballots. 3 people are running to move forward in the race for Dane County Circuit Court. Now Supreme Court Justice Susan Crawford served in that role before Wisconsinites elected her to the state's high court. Another bigger race in this primary, Brodhead Mayor. There are also several county board races throughout the viewing area, including 3 in Dane County. Now, if you are not registered, you can still do so at your polling place today. Just make sure you have a Wisconsin driver's license or ID. And if you don't, you'll just need to provide the last 4 digits of your social security number and also a document proving that you live in Wisconsin, like a lease. People in that group need to bring some other kind of a photo ID, like a passport, in order to vote. Polls do close at 8 o'clock tonight, and anyone in line by then has a legal right to vote. Eric?
Sarah, thank you. And News 3 Now will be pushing out the results of the primary as soon as we get those results tonight. You can follow along to see who moves forward to that general election with our free Channel 3000 mobile app. Well, the NFL season in the off season is moving along quickly. Next up, the NFL Scouting Combine. That's next week already in Indianapolis, and that's where the Packers start building a better roster through the draft for 2026. Our News 3 Now, Channel3000.com, senior Packers writer Jason Wilde now with more from Green Bay.
With the Super Bowl firmly in the NFL's rearview mirror after more than a week, we're on the verge of the unofficial start to the 2026 NFL season. That comes next week when the annual NFL Scouting Combine kicks off in Indianapolis, and the Packers head into this offseason knowing they have plenty of work to do after a 5-game losing streak, including a playoff loss to the arch-rival Bears to close their season. Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst, speaking earlier this offseason, acknowledges that it will take everyone to get them where they want to go.
Yeah, I think it's all of us, right? I think it's players, it's coaches, it's everybody. And I think for me, I think, in certain situational football situations, we have to be better at, and we have to be more consistent at. And I think, for me, there's 2 things. It's one, do we have the right people out there, that can handle those situations? And then 2 is that, are we doing everything to give them the best chance to succeed? So, so I think we're looking at it from all avenues. It's very important to us. But, we got a good group of people, not only players, coaches, but support staff, and we'll find a way to get it done.
Be sure to follow all of our Packers written coverage on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, you can sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers our coverage directly to your inbox. In Green Bay, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Now for a look at your full First Warn forecast, Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us. Alex?
And that full story starts off with some showers entering southwest Wisconsin and Grant County, just near the Mississippi River. Those showers are going to be working off towards the east, impacting areas down towards Dickeyville right around 5:11 p.m. So that's really right about now. Over towards the Lancaster, Hazel Green area as we head towards the end of the newscast. Not expecting any thunderstorms with this initial batch of showers. And some of these showers may be struggling to make it to the ground. It's a bit on the dry side in the air right now, so some of those raindrops are evaporating. The rest of southern Wisconsin right now, high and dry for the most part, but that will change as we head later into the evening. Here's that band pushing through already through Madison and areas north and east towards Adams County, Marquette, Green Lake counties, Juneau, down to Watertown, down to Janesville by 9 o'clock. In southwest Wisconsin, perhaps a brief break, but it's as we head towards midnight, more scattered showers and a couple isolated thunderstorms develop, especially from, let's say, U.S. Highway 151. I'm going to call out Mineral Point to Dodgeville to Madison, up towards Beaver Dam and areas towards the north and towards the west. Best chance of seeing a couple of isolated thunderstorms tonight. Can't rule out a little bit of small hail, can't rule out some gusty winds, but we are not expecting severe weather at this point in time. A couple more isolated thunderstorms north and east of I-39 and I-94 as we head towards 4 o'clock in the morning, and then a dry slot, meaning conditions will dry out in southwest Wisconsin. Sunny from Madison areas to the south on Wednesday, cloudy areas towards the north at the Dells up towards Juneau, Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake counties will be best chance of seeing some clouds, maybe a sprinkle or two. Lows tonight will be in the 40s, and it likely is going to be late evening hours, and then as we head into the overnight hours, those temperatures will rise a bit as we get into the warm part of this weather system. So waking up tomorrow morning may actually be warmer than what it is if you're stepping out maybe for a quick late stroll with the dog, in that chance where we get a little bit of that dry time as we move through the rest of Wednesday. Highs up near 60, Madison areas to the south where we get sunshine, areas to the north where we hang onto the clouds, they'll stay in the 40s to near 50 degrees. Breezy too. Anytime we show the future track wind gust map here, when you see purple, that's really windy conditions. We could be looking at winds gusting at times to 40 miles per hour. They have wind advisories in effect out to the west in Iowa. Wouldn't be shocked to see parts of southern Wisconsin under that wind advisory criteria. So hold on to your hats. High profile vehicles like semis, just take it a little bit easy, especially those that are going to be moving from south to north, because you're going to get that wind coming in from the west and the southwest. Then we turn our attention to Thursday. More storms a possible in the afternoon, changing to wet snow, especially for areas north and west of Madison. And we can't rule out some slick spots Friday morning with that wet snow. Here's how that weather system number 2 pans out here. A couple of thunderstorms from the Dells, Lone Rock, Madison areas to the south and to the east. Through the evening hours, we're keeping an eye out for the potential for an isolated strong storm. Areas down towards Janesville and Elkhorn would have the better chance of that. Then it mixes with and changes over to wet snow, breezy conditions on the backside of that weather system. We're keeping an eye on where that band may set up for maybe a couple of inches of that slushy snow accumulation. Let's take this nice and full here. Our temperatures staying well into the 30s to near 40 for the rest of the 10-day period. So those temperatures are near, if not just a little bit above normal, Eric, as we go out into the future. Now, while we don't have 60s in the forecast after tomorrow, these temperatures at least aren't plummeting into the teens or the 20s, none of that Arctic stuff, and hopefully we can keep that the mode all the way up to spring.
Yeah, we were spoiled the last few days. Now back to reality. No doubt about it. Alex, thank you. And a reminder, nominations are open now for Madison Magazine's Best of Madison. Log on to channel3000.com. Click on the link to nominate your favorites. You have until the end of the month. And we're also celebrating the city's best business and leaders. Join us for our Best of Business program. That'll be February 27th at the Concourse Hotel. You can learn more and get your tickets online at channel3000.com. Coming up at 5, where things stand between the White House and Democrats in their negotiations for a deal to end the partial government shutdown. And the big name expected to testify in a landmark social media trial tomorrow in L.A. Stay with us. News 3 Now at 5. We'll be back after a short break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Moving forward.
In national news, the U.S. military says it killed 11 people in 3 separate boat strikes last week. Now, some viewers may find this video disturbing. 4 people were killed on each of the 2 boats hit in the Pacific. 3 died after the military strike on one in the Caribbean. All of this happened Thursday night. The U.S. claims the 11 people killed were drug traffickers. This is the latest in a campaign of strikes that have now left at least 135 people dead. An 18-year-old is in D.C. police custody after he allegedly charged the Capitol building with a loaded shotgun earlier today. Police say he was wearing a tactical vest and had additional rounds. They have not yet identified the suspect, but say he complied with orders to drop the gun. A helmet and gas mask were found in a car they have associated with him. There's no end in sight for the partial government shutdown that started over the weekend. Democrats and the White House still negotiating. Erica Brown reports the latest from Capitol Hill.
Hey, good afternoon, folks. Senate Democrats have sent their latest proposal to the White House in an effort to end the stalemate over funding for the Department of Homeland Security.
Are you going to sit down with Democrats this week on DHS funding, sir? I will, but, we have to protect our law enforcement.
The White House says the two sides are still far apart as Democrats demand changes to how ICE and Border Patrol are carrying out the Trump administration's immigration enforcement actions.
They're part of the whole system that is working.
Democrats say the system is broken.
As we horrifically saw in Minneapolis with the cold-blooded killings of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy.
While progress moves at a snail's pace, a pipe collapses, sending millions of gallons of wastewater flowing into the Potomac River. DC Water says it will be mid-March before it's repaired.
We were a little cautious about coming out here today, knowing that there was a spill, and worried about what that impact would be to people down here.
President Trump has called both the partial shutdown and wastewater in the Potomac River, quote, Democrat-caused disasters, and says he's waiting for calls to help with cleanup of the river. President Trump posted on social media that the federal government will need to step in, and FEMA, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security, will play a role in the response. So far, the shutdown is not impacting most Americans, with TSA agents still showing up for work, despite the looming threat that they may soon miss a paycheck. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Late Show host Stephen Colbert says CBS made him scrap a pre-taped interview segment with a candidate in the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate in Texas. Colbert saying the network's lawyers told him in, quote, no uncertain terms he could not air an interview on Monday night. CBS told a different story, saying the Late Show was given legal guidance but was not prohibited from airing that interview with James Tallarico. It's the latest in a string of actions by CBS to change its content, coming amid pressure from the White House. And tomorrow, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg facing grieving parents in front of a jury. Zuckerberg scheduled to testify in Los Angeles. Now, this is that lawsuit brought by a woman and her mother. A number of grieving parents are flying in from around the country to California in hopes of securing a seat in the courtroom to witness the testimony from Zuckerberg. And now 20-year-old woman claims Instagram and YouTube purposefully designed features on their platforms to addict young users. Meta says it strongly disagrees with the accusation. Stay with us for a final check of your First Warn forecast when we come back. Well, coming up at 6, it is Fat Tuesday, or as some call it, Punchki Day. Our Tanisha Shaw shows us how one local bakery prepared for one of its biggest days of the year. It's in a half hour. Join us for News 3 Now at 6. And stay with us throughout the evening, of course. We'll bring you the very latest election results, the numbers, and also a wrap-up of the governor's final State of the State address. Join us tonight for News 3 Now at 10. And Alex, also keeping a close eye on weather. We might have some thunderstorms.
I know. You
It's
wouldn't
a
think
little
of
weird
that.
for February.
A little odd, yeah.
It's been a different stretch of weather lately than
true.
February.
Yeah, we were talking a couple days ago. When you're 60 in February, usually there's some weather, meaning some weather systems. And Future Track showing, there we go, a couple more scattered showers and thunderstorms developing as we head towards the midnight hour. They carry us into the early morning hours. And then Thursday and Friday, maybe some accumulating snow. We'll talk more at 6.
All right, we'll see you in a half hour for that. And you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Thanks for watching.